Welcome to the channel, guys. Now, here's why I think Gotway fires have absolutely nothing to do with Gotway wheels. Let's talk about it. So for one, Gotway machines are the only machines that are pushed beyond their limits, even though the manufacturer clearly states the limitations of these wheels in their spec sheet. And do we listen? Absolutely not.
For example, the safe riding speed for my machine is 16 miles an hour according to the specs, right? Well, that's like buying a Porsche that pushes 200 miles an hour, but the car manufacturers crash their cars at 40 miles an hour and says it's safe, just to coincide with laws on the books. Truth is, 40 miles an hour is an ideal speed, assuming that all drivers adhere to the speed limits where 40 miles per hour or less is posted. But what about highways?
Let's compare Gotway to InMotion, Kingsong, Ninebot, and dare I mention all of the alternative EUCs out there that a lot of us don't even know about but do exist, albeit in silence. These companies max out at 30 miles an hour, maybe 35 miles an hour in the case of the InMotion. Even then, the 35 miles an hour of the InMotion is in question because, it says 35 miles an hour, but we all know how, some of these companies dial back their actual speed when compared to GPS. But my point is, a lot of these companies, even though they max out at 30 to 35 miles an hour, they make sure you're not able to enjoy those speeds too much by giving you the absolute worst range you can possibly get out of those wheels. For example, the InMotion or the Kingsong 16X, which is a great wheel, but it does have throttling. You know what I mean? It has speed throttling, depending on which version you get. But most of these wheels, most of these manufacturers make sure that you're not able to go past 30 miles an hour. Anything past that and you will get at least a tilt back, but you better not push beyond that tilt back.
The abuse is not only speed related though. Example, the infamous phantomous jumps, chooch, snow riding, that many will indeed attempt. Even me, riding my Tesla in deep puddles of water just to see what would happen, and countless other examples out there. These are just a few examples of how Gotway wheels are pushed beyond their intended limits. And honestly, I feel we have to give way more credit to Gotway, considering that in a lot of these cases, the wheels actually survive. Okay, there are a few exceptions, but these are outliers. The majority of riders who literally destroy their wheels beyond repair and recognition exist in a minority, and let's face it, because they generate way more attention than the average responsible rider, they tend to naturally set the stage for how most of us view the company, which is not to be blamed. It is the rider who should be blamed here. In short, Gotway does not and never have endorsed this level of insanity. So why do we blame them when it doesn't meet our standards of crazy? Oh yeah, another thing. Aftermarket purchases that promise more speed and more range because of upgraded battery capacities. Now, I see nothing wrong with upgrading or purchasing an upgraded wheel if and only if we can 100% confirm and explicitly verify that the distributor or the individual is well certified to perform such upgrades. Otherwise, by virtue of it being a Gotway alone in light of their quote-unquote terrible record on QC, will automatically cause anyone to jump to the conclusion that yes, Gotway sucks, when in fact it doesn't. Remember this incident? This was a Gotway Nikola fire, and any onlooker will automatically assume this was Gotway. Indeed, it was a Gotway machine, but it wasn't sanctioned by Gotway. This was a modded wheel with increased battery capacities. Also, how can we ignore rider error, rider indifference, etc. when you're done binge watching your daily dose of Phantomos and Chooch videos, along with the introduction of many new crazy, as in awesome, riders that now exist both on YouTube and Instagram? I ask this: how many of you who do copy their actions take the time to open up your wheel, clean your wheel, check for loose connections, balance your batteries like Panda and many others do? The point is, how many of us, understanding the dangers of owning anything battery operated, have a checklist in place after a questionable ride? For example, if you rode in the rain today, that's fine, check not necessary, unless it was a downpour and you submerged your wheel longer and deeper than is recommended, or after riding long hours in the snow, etc., etc. How many of you, including myself, know what overcharging is and how to protect your battery from it? These are just minor things that we all should absolutely know before making any judgments regarding battery fires. Now, with that said, that is not to excuse Gotway from anything except to say that now that they've reached a point in sales where they are well known and have been for a while and do sell a crazy amount of wheels, they have a responsibility to address these issues regardless if it's their fault or not, for the primary purpose of protecting their image and reputation, but also to demonstrate to the consumer base that we indeed care about your safety by taking steps such as over-engineering in the safety and QC department, just in case, you know, we blow one up. This was just my take on the topic. Please add yours below. Let's make EUCs great. Maybe one of us who is very knowledgeable in battery technology can create a digital checklist, which every EUC owner should have. Who knows? Maybe the EUC World app can incorporate something like that in their amazing app as a feature. As an example, I know InMotion has a feature where it checks the health of the wheel just to make sure everything is in tip-top shape before you go on a ride or after you come from a ride. But it doesn't go far enough. Anyway, as they say, knowledge is power, and the lack of it is ignorance. So with that said, I found an amazing video online. It's extremely informative. It's about the dangers of lithium-ion batteries, and what I really like about the video is how it demonstrates the amount of damage you'll have to inflict on a lithium-ion cell before an explosion actually occurs. So it's just a food for thought, but I hope you guys really enjoy the video. Click the link in the description if you want to see the entire thing.
Anyway guys, let's make EUCs great and stop blaming Gotway for everything. And because of that, I can push my Gotway how I want. Because I know the limits, but I know there's a possibility, there's a slim chance something could happen that is completely out of my control. But I'm not going to blame Gotway for that. That's on me. That's on me. You know what I'm saying? We need to be educated on this. For real. is not bliss. No, we need to know what we're talking about. We need to know what we're talking about. We need to know what we're doing. We need to know what we're doing is right. You know what I'm saying? We need to know. That way you can enjoy your wheel, man, with no worries. Nothing's like a Gotway machine, man. Well, Sherman. The Sherman is good. Man, I love Gotway machines. Oh, they're great. Sherman is good too, but there's more maneuverability with this. Nothing beats riding your wheel when you know it, man. Nothing beats that. Because nothing's a surprise unless it is a surprise. So there's literally a litany of things we're supposed to be doing, but don't do because we're lazy, irresponsible, and we vicariously put all of our blaming on the manufacturer, who never really sanctioned any of these actions in the first place. So why are we blaming them? We as a community who deem Gotway unsafe, low quality, etc. seem to make that our main scapegoat, when in fact we should be blaming ourselves. We should look ourselves in the mirror, right? Now, a lot of us are to blame, but I mean, there are rare cases where the product absolutely does fail no matter how much precaution we take. But guys, that is called margin of error, and every single company, every single product has that. There's no perfect product on earth. Look at Tesla, how many cars they burned. Look at the e-bikes, how many bikes they burned. Look at the hoverboard, goodness gracious, that was all over the world. The hoverboard blowing up in flames and all that stuff. It didn't stop them from selling. I mean, at a time it did, but you can still go out there and buy a board, a hoverboard. But we have to understand that this is a battery-operated device, and certain things, certain precautions we have to take.